The first time I saw Kintsugi, I didn't think it was beautiful. I thought it was impossible. A bowl had been broken into pieces, and instead of hiding the cracks, someone repaired them with gold. Not to pretend it never happened, but to make the history visible. At the time, I didn't understand why anyone would do that. Then life handed me a break of my own. Not in a bowl, in me. It happened quietly, the way real breaking happens. One day you're fine. The next day you're still functioning, but something inside you is no longer whole. For me, it was a failure I didn't expect. A project I had carried for months collapsed in public. Not because I didn't work hard, but because life doesn't always reward effort the way we think it should. People were polite about it. They said the right words, but I could feel the truth underneath. The pity in their eyes was heavier than anger. In that moment, I didn't feel judged. I felt transparent, like the room could see straight through me and there was nothing left to respect. That night, I went for a walk without a destination. I ended up in a small workshop tucked into a narrow street. A simple wooden sign hung outside. No bright marketing, no loud promises. Just one word: Kintsugi. Inside, the air smelled like lacquer and tea. The room was warm, but not cozy. It felt serious, like a place where time moves slowly on purpose. An elderly craftswoman sat at a low table. Her hands were steady, her expression calm. On the table lay a broken ceramic bowl, separated into pieces like a quiet puzzle. I watched for a minute, then asked the first question people always ask: is it worth it? She didn't answer right away. Instead, she looked up and asked something unexpected. "Are you trying to fix the bowl?" she said. "Or are you trying to erase the fact it broke?" My throat tightened, because I knew the question wasn't really about the bowl. I gave a small laugh, trying to hide the discomfort. "I guess I'm asking why anyone would keep something broken." She nodded, like she understood the instinct. Then she lifted one piece of the bowl and held it to the light. "Most people," she said, "treat damage like shame. They hide it. They throw it away. They pretend it never happened." She placed the piece down gently. "But Kintsugi is different. Kintsugi says the break is not the end of the story. It is the place where the story becomes true." Part of me wanted to argue, because when you're hurting, wisdom can sound like decoration. So I asked, "But doesn't that just make the bowl weaker?" The craftswoman smiled slightly. "It makes it honest," she said. Then she began to work. She didn't rush. She cleaned the edges of the break slowly, like she was preparing something sacred. Then she applied a dark lacquer, thin as a breath, and pressed two pieces together. Her fingers held them in place without trembling. No panic, no frustration, only attention. After a while, she released her hands and the pieces stayed joint. Then she did something that surprised me. She didn't paint gold like a line of ink. She took a tiny pinch of gold powder, so fine it looked like sunlight ground into dust. She held it above the wet lacquer seam and gently sprinkled it. The gold fell softly like quiet snowfall. It clung to the dark lacquer and transformed it instantly. Not loud, not flashy, just undeniable, like a scar that has healed and stopped begging to be hidden. She said, "Do you know why the gold matters?" I shook my head. She looked up at me. "Because the mind always returns to the break. If you try to hide it, you will fear it. If you deny it, you will carry it like a secret. But if you honor it, the break stops controlling you." That sentence hit harder than I expected, because I had been doing the opposite. I kept replaying my failure, editing it in my head, imagining different outcomes, as if I could rewrite reality, as if life would give me a second draft. I asked quietly, "So what does Kintsugi teach when a person breaks?" She didn't answer with a quote. She just kept working, piece by piece, breath by breath. The room stayed silent except for small sounds, brush on ceramic, lacquer being mixed, the soft clink of porcelain settling into place. And in that silence, I realized how loud my life usually was. Opinions, expectations, deadlines, the pressure to appear perfect.
But here, nobody was trying to look perfect. They were trying to be careful. They were trying to be real. After some time, the craftswoman placed the repaired bowl in front of me. It wasn't new. It wasn't like it used to be. It was different. The golden seams looked like a map, a record, a visible truth. Then she said something I will never forget. Before it broke, this bowl was ordinary. After it broke, it became specific. It became itself. I stared at it and felt something loosen in my chest, because I suddenly saw what I had been afraid of. I wasn't afraid of failing. I was afraid of becoming the person who failed, afraid that the break would define me forever. The craftswoman must have sensed it. She said, "People think Kintsugi is about making broken things beautiful, but that is not the deepest point. The deepest point is this. You do not heal by becoming who you were. You heal by becoming someone who can carry the break and turn it into wisdom." She touched the golden seam gently. The gold is not the powder. The gold is what you learn when you rebuild. I swallowed. My eyes burned a little, and I looked away, pretending to study the bowl. Then I asked quietly, "So what should I do with my break?" She answered simply, "Stop hiding. Stop apologizing for being human, and start rebuilding with what you have, even if it takes time, even if the line always remains." I left the workshop later that evening. The street lights were on. The air was cold. Nothing in my life had magically fixed itself. My failure was still real. My future was still uncertain. But my relationship with the break had changed. I stopped seeing it as proof that I was worthless. I started seeing it as proof that I was alive, that I had tried something, that I had risked something, that I had been brave enough to care. So here's the lesson of Kintsugi. Not everything that breaks is ruined. Some things break and become more meaningful. Not because breaking is good, but because repairing with honesty is powerful. And sometimes the most beautiful part of you is not the part that never fell. It's the part that cracked and still chose to return. Not by hiding the scar, but by turning the experience into gold.